Welcome back to the N.y.a show. Let me pause the music. Pause the music. Welcome back to the show as we kick it off another week. Man, though, it's coming down here in Georgia. I don't know how many of you guys are dealing with the weather, but this whole Sunday so far here in Georgia, it has just been cutting up, dog. I can't even lie to you. It's just been going crazy. Let me go ahead and put this. I had to take some travels. I had to do some traveling this today. And while I was traveling, that's the main thing I was dealing with on the way coming back. It's just dealing with all of the weather. 1 minute, all I was trying to do was focus on the clear line, trying to make sure I see that white and that yellow line, baby. At any point that I couldn't see it, I know that I was in trouble. When it came to Saturday, rest in peace to Auntie Betty. She was laid to rest on Saturday, so the celebration of her life was this Saturday. This on Friday, I pretty much breezed. I pretty much breezed through Friday, and then I had a chance to enjoy myself. What was that Saturday night? So that was all that. It just adds to the good feelings as we go into another go and support. The last two shows was the Kenyan police have now entered the chat. Kenya over there in Haiti now, and then I was just reading about how the people over there in Kenya mad at the government. I'm like, bro, you trying to solve one issue and you ain't even fix home. Right? It's too much of that going on in Africa. And then a father of two attempts to drown two little twin babies. Those are my latest N.y.a shows that I would love for you guys to check out there on my Instagram channel. They'll definitely be somewhere after this video, as well as a new link right here for the beginning of you guys to check out Spirit Arrest. It's a short film by W3 Filmed It. Subscribe to it on YouTube. Check out this story about a battle between flesh and spirit. My wife is the star of here, and everyone here acted and did an amazing job. And then, of course, you know that we have our Spotify with Ajay, Ajay Tambe, How Mother is Balancing Life in the Pursuit of Dreams. Please be sure that you always, let me get that up on the screen too. Please be sure that you guys always support these as you come to the video. The link will be below. Let me go ahead and get how Spotify, let me see How Mother is Balancing Life in the Pursuit of Dreams. If it'll go ahead and pop up here on the screen, just so I had that. And we covered all of my bases when it comes to the N.y.a show. Cool. Now, the story that will be for today. All right, as soon as it loads up here, it has to do with the Sudan. Let's talk about what's going on in Sudan. The Sudanese political and civil society groups meet in a bid to end the war. Now, the United States, we've stuck our nose in this situation to try to get the war to end over in the Sudan. What's going on in Africa? It has not helped. And then I'm like, shit, a lot of times we're the biggest superpower that's involved in the situation that we can't get you guys to ceasefire. There ain't really no hope for none of these other groups, but let's tap in to see what people are trying to do. So Sudanese political and civil society group, they met Saturday in Egypt to discuss ways to end the war engulfing the Sudan. The warring parties, however, didn't take part in the Egypt-sponsored conference. And of course, that's going to be Al-Burhan, who's the leader of the Sudan military, and then Hamedi is the leader of the RSF. We have discussed these fellas quite a few times here on the N.y.a show. So now groups have got together in Egypt in the new capital over there in here it is right here out there in the middle of the desert. The new capital, they had a meeting about how we're going to figure out what's going on between these two groups. The devastating conflict has killed more than 14,000 people and wounded 33,000 people, according to the United Nations. But of course, those numbers are predictions. If you ask me, you got to add up a little bit more on these totals. It's created the largest displacement crisis. Over 11 million people have moved from the Sudan, from their homes to different parts, to different countries of Africa. That's all they're doing is running because of war going on in Sudan. International experts warned last month that 755,000, people are facing famine in the coming months, and then another 8.5 million people are facing extreme food shortages. I had a picture that I had up on my that I saw on Twitter. Matter of fact, I'm speaking of this story where it was like somebody was holding a baby's hand from the Sudan. It was one of like famous photos that you couldn't forget or whatever. And the little baby hand was like back in whatever year, famine, starving situation going on in the Sudan. I'm like, yo, that's going on in the Sudan now. And this picture is like some infamous picture from like early 2000s. And this same picture can be taken today in Sudan. It has been hosted by the Egyptian government in the new administrative capital, a mega city east of Cairo, which of course I put on the screen here. Egypt out there spending that money, trying to get away, trying to make it harder to protest. The government move further out so the protesters can't just step how they are in the old capital. Previous efforts, including U.S.-Saudi mediated talks between the military and the RSF, failed to end fighting. Any real political solution, as they always say, any real political solution to the crisis in Sudan must be based purely on the Sudanese needs to come from them. The Egyptian Foreign Minister Babt Abdulati said in his opening speech, many Sudanese groups attended the conference, including an alliance of pro-democracy political parties and groups led by former prime ministers Abdallah Hamdok. So you're not the prime minister now. I'd like to know more about what happened. You know what I'm saying? Also attended some leaders of the Sudanese rebel forces, but they were not the people from RSF or, our big time military. So the people that needed to be at this meeting, unfortunately, were not there, but they're too busy over there, and go in the war, but they should be sitting down to try to really get a ceasefire going. And more than that, in the war in general. Nobody talked about this war just continuously going on, and it has to come to an end at some point. So here we are, here we are again. And I want to go ahead and see if I can play this video just to add anything extra to this story, and then you guys can leave your comments, thoughts, and please be sure to support the show as always as I do close out with the video related to what's going on. Let me see.
The summit intended to help Sudan get out of the ongoing crisis that has killed thousands and led to massive displacements in the region. Several Sudanese politicians and civil society groups met on Saturday in Cairo to discuss ways to end the war engulfing the country. Discussions and deliberations included the necessity of an immediate end of war in a way that covers the mechanisms, methods, and monitoring a permanent ceasefire, as well as stopping the hostilities. The attendees emphasized on the importance of committing to the Gender Declaration and looking into its execution mechanism and develop it to keep up with the development of war. The devastating conflict has killed more than 14,000 people and wounded 33,000 others, according to the United Nations, but rights activists say the toll could be much higher. Any real political solution to the crisis in Sudan must be based on a purely Sudanese vision emanating from the Sudanese themselves, without any dictations or pressure from an external party. Sudan descended into chaos in April last year when simmering tensions between the country's military and the notorious paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, exploded into open fighting in the capital Khartoum and elsewhere in the country.
The inability or the polarization of inability of bringing the two belligerents together in negotiating seriously, in stopping the war and moving forward on a political process. Obviously, but I think there's pressure from internal civil society, Sudanese groups from the region, from the world, who will be able to put that pressure on them so that they can come to the...
International experts warned last month that 755,000 people are facing famine in the coming months and that 8.5 million people are facing extreme food shortages.
And people still really don't care that all that's going on. You got these two parties that the RFS and the military there that were on the same squad to get rid of the previous government in the Sudan with a coup, and then turned around and turned on each other, and now they fighting because they don't know who want to leave. Like, all of this has to truly come to an end. At the end of the day, you see two dogs fighting, and you over there, you got the resources to help them out. Goddamn, break the fight up. You know what I'm saying? So we done gave y'all enough time to try to solve this on your own. Break it up and let's get some aid. Let's get some aid going on to get this whole thing figured out. But what's next for the Sudan, I do not know. I'm shining the light back on it again to once again share the story, leave comments, likes that they had a meeting over in Cairo about what we're going to do to stop the war over in the Sudan. And so far, I really want to see where it leads to, because right now, I truly don't. I truly do not know. It's the N.y.a show. Please pray for the people over there in the Sudan and hope that the war will come to an end eventually. But who's to say when the war will actually end? It's the N.y.a show, and I appreciate you guys always.